What's up, everybody? So I'm going to start something new, something a little different. I'm going back to the beginning when Steven Avery got released from prison for the first time back in 2003. And I'm going to read all of the newspaper articles I can find from back then all the way up until now. I have found a bunch of them. Now, not all of them are complete, but most of them are. And there's a couple different publications as well. So we're going to go over every newspaper article I can find on the subject and see what was written about the case and about Steven Avery and Brendan Dassey back then. And we're, like I said, we're going all the way back to September 2003 for this first video when Steven Avery was released from prison for the first time after 18 years. Now, this first article, and I'm going to put them all up on the screen for you, but if you can't see them well on the screen, I'm going to put them on the Instagram and Twitter, which is linked below, so you can go have a better view, if you wish, for yourself. Now, the first one is from September 11th, 2003. It is from the Janesville Gazette, and the headline states, DNA test frees prisoner after 18 years. It states, a law school group pushed case of Two Rivers rape trial. A Madison man imprisoned for 18 years on charges he attacked a woman jogger has been cleared after a law school group pushed for an analysis of DNA evidence that showed he didn't do it. Steven Avery, now 43, was sentenced to 32 years in prison in 1985 on charges of first-degree sexual assault, attempted murder, and false imprisonment stemming from the attack on the jogger near Two Rivers. But Manitowoc County Circuit Judge Fred Hazelwood ruled Wednesday that Avery must be freed because the DNA evidence proved his innocence. He was scheduled to be released today from the Stanley Correctional Institution in northwestern Wisconsin. He's happy to get out for something he didn't do, though, said his mother Dolores Avery, who unfortunately passed away recently when contacted at her Two Rivers home Wednesday night. She said her husband, Alan, planned to leave at 5 a.m. to drive to Stanley to meet their son on his release. The Wisconsin Innocence Project at the University of Wisconsin-Madison Law School worked on Avery's case for 2 years, said Director Keith Findley. We're very, very happy for him that this is finally coming to an end. It's really a vindication for him. The system failed. He lost 18 years of his life. The Innocence Project obtained a court order to allow testing of the genetic material DNA in hairs from the crime scene. The testing by the state crime lab matched the DNA not with Avery, but with another man currently serving a 60-year sentence for another sexual assault. He declined to identify the prisoner. We, of course, now know that that prisoner was Gregory Allen. Hazelwood, who handled Avery's case in 1985, said the development came as a surprise. We're humans, mistakes are made. What a ridiculous thing to say. We're human, mistakes are made. Sure, true, but this mistake cost somebody 18 years of their life. It's a pretty big mistake there, Judge. Regardless of if you're a rich man, a poor man, a good man, a bad man, you don't deserve to be in prison for something you didn't do. The Innocence Project consists of law students who investigate possible wrongful convictions. The Innocence Project took on Avery's case after his lawyers questioned the woman's identification of the assailant. He said 16 witnesses corroborated Steven's alibi. The woman's attacker may have looked similar to Avery, but it wasn't him. We have the next one here from the Janesville Gazette on September the 12th, 2003. Release ends human catastrophe. Two Rivers, Wisconsin. For 18 years, Steven Avery sat behind prison bars for a brutal rape and attempted murder he didn't commit. His 5 children grew up during those years, and he knows he can't make up for that. All that time was lost, he said Thursday, just hours after becoming a free man, exonerated because of DNA testing of a single pubic hair. Life probably would have been different if I was there. They didn't have no dad around. After Avery walked out of the Stanley Correctional Institution in northwestern Wisconsin, thanks to a law school group that pushed for the DNA analysis that proved his innocence, within hours, he celebrated his freedom at his parents' Two Rivers home. Hugs, kisses, watery eyes, and a bottle of champagne greeted Avery. He swigged 2 big gulps, his first drinks of alcohol in 18 years. His baby blue eyes were already reddened. He got no sleep the previous night because of the anticipation of being released. He said he was a little shaky already after getting somewhat carsick on the 220-mile journey home. "Oh God, I love you, baby," cousin Rita Sitman shouted as she rushed into Avery's arms, tears running down her cheeks. "You start life over now. Here we go." Earl Avery, 33, wrapped his arms around his brother in a bear hug. "It is about time," the younger brother said. "How are we going to make up the time?" Stephen Avery pulled away and looked up. "I don't know," he said. His vindication ended a human catastrophe for him, his family, and other innocent victims in the case. Avery's unfortunate saga serves as a reminder that we have a flawed criminal justice system. The DNA testing proved a man imprisoned for a 1985 Brown County sexual assault committed the joggers' attack. Manitowoc County District Attorney Mark Rohrer said, but he said no decision has been made about prosecuting the man, considering the 6-year statute of limitations on a sexual assault case. It's ridiculous. After his release, Avery got one of his first wishes as a free man, a lunch of barbecue ribs, and he said he savored every bite. "I feel terrific," Avery said, a breeze blowing through his long graying beard. "The wind, no bars, no fences. I figured this day would come sooner or later." He smiled freely, even as his family joked about him coming home with the beard. Avery promised to shave it within a week. "The system sucks. It needs to be fixed," said Avery. The next article is from the next day, September 13th. What's the price of wrongful conviction? Now this one says turn to page 2B. This is one of the ones that's not complete. I couldn't find page 2B. But the first part states, prisoner's release raises questions. Wisconsin Governor Jim Doyle said Friday he would be willing to raise the $25,000 cap on the state compensation for wrongful conviction for wrongfully convicted people after the release of a man who spent 18 years in prison for a rape and attempted murder he didn't commit. "I don't know when the law was last looked at, last adjusted, but I think clearly it's something that deserves to be looked at," Doyle said in Madison. "I guess I'm like everybody else, very saddened that a person spent years in prison for a wrongful conviction." Stephen Avery, 43, of Two Rivers, walked out of Stanley Correctional Institution in northwestern Wisconsin on Thursday thanks to a law school group that pushed for the DNA analysis that proved his innocence. Under a state law that provides compensation for innocent convicts, Avery could petition the state claims board for up to $5,000 for each year he was wrongfully convicted, not to exceed $25,000. We now know that he ended up getting almost $2 million a year for what he was imprisoned for. He was going to get $36 million, and we know what that caused to happen. Stephen Avery's older brother, Chuck Avery of Two Rivers, said the family would seek the money. $25,000 is nothing, the brother said. He lost everything. He lost his wife and his kids. Stephen Avery, the father of 5 now-grown children, was sentenced to 32 years in prison in 1985 on charges of first-degree sexual assault, attempted murder, and false imprisonment stemming from an attack on a 36-year-old woman jogger near Two Rivers. So, that article continues, but there is no second page that I could find, and it likely just says the same thing that I said in the last 2 articles as well. But $5,000 a year, not to exceed $25,000. That is absolutely ridiculous. This next article, also from the Janesville Gazette, September 14th, 2003. The district attorney. No new charges in old assault case. A prosecutor says he probably won't file new sexual assault charges based on DNA testing that cleared a Two Rivers man after he spent 18 years in prison. The DNA testing cleared Stephen Avery, 43, in the attack in July 1985. Authorities said the DNA from a hair at the scene linked the crime to another man serving a 60-year prison term. But the Manitowoc County District Attorney announced late Friday that he probably would not file new charges. He said in a statement that although no final decision has been made, he does not intend to charge the other man with the crime at this time. He said the victim did not want to pursue charges. Next article is from September 15th. This next one says, jurors discounted man's alibi. Milwaukee. 2 members of the jury that convicted Stephen Avery in a 1985 sexual assault case recalled doubting his alibi witnesses when they found him guilty. Avery was released from prison Thursday after a law school group pushed for analysis of DNA evidence that showed he didn't sexually assault the woman. Violet Hansen and Bob Pop, who served on the jury in Manitowoc County for Avery's trial, told WISN TV of Milwaukee their recollections about the case. Pop said the victim seemed certain Avery was her assailant. She pointed him out and she swore he was the person. Pop said members of Avery's family testified they were with him pouring cement at the time of the attack, but other testimony contradicted the family. They just convinced us that it was kind of fake. Really, that's how I felt, Hansen said. We thought they had that down pat, and we were sure we did. And the last article from the Janesville Gazette for September 2003. Freed man enjoys time with his kids. Financial compensation can wait. For now, Stephen Avery is focused on repairing relationships money cannot mend. While Wisconsin legislators met Wednesday in Madison to prepare hearings for how the Two Rivers man could have spent nearly 18 years behind bars for a crime he did not commit, Avery worked to get his car running again and regain the driver's license that lapsed while he was in prison. With his license and transportation, Avery said he can easily visit his 5 children. The priority after a week of freedom was getting back with my kids. He said seeking compensation from the state claims board or taking legal action for his wrongful imprisonment was down the road. And that's the last article from the Janesville Gazette. But let me know what you think. What do you think of these articles that were written from September 11th to September 18th in 2003 in Wisconsin about Stephen Avery's wrongful conviction? Let me know. Leave some comments below. I hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you again soon.